Hi there, it's me, Chloe, and I thought I would deliver my newsletter today in the medium of video. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think. I hope that it's all recording and working. So today what I want to talk to you about is something that I find myself talking to clients a lot about, and that is having an all or nothing mindset. So an all or nothing mindset is when, as the label says, is when you feel like you have to apply yourself 110% in order to feel like you're actively participating in that particular aspect of your life. So an all or nothing mindset can be incredibly helpful for certain areas of your life. So at work, for example, that all or nothing mindset can be really good because it means when you're applying yourself 110% and giving it your all and doing really well. It might be a really helpful mindset to have when it comes to, you know, hobbies that you have. So say if you are really interested in carpentry, it means that you learn everything about it and you develop a really good skill for it. But when it comes to your health and your well-being, having that all or nothing mindset can be quite damaging because it means you're either on or you're off. And when it comes to your health, you can't afford to go through periods when you're off, right? You always need to be looking after yourself. You always need to have self-care. But you need to be in tune with the ebb and flow of life. And an all or nothing mindset doesn't allow for that. So with an all or nothing mindset, if you always have to be doing something 110%, that's actually quite stressful for the body. So to be turned on and switched on like that, in your workplace could potentially be really stressful. And when we've got high levels of stress running around the body, that's not going to be good for our gut. We know that, right? So when we're applying that same mindset to our health, that could again mean that we're potentially being really damaging to our health by applying that kind of mindset of something needing to feel like a task, and there need to be some kind of pain involved in there in order for you to get the gain, which just isn't necessarily the way that it needs to be when it comes to your health and well-being. So that all or nothing mindset can be really good for some areas of your life, but not necessarily good for your health and well-being. And the possible risk of high levels of stress levels is one reason why. Other reasons why that can't be great, as I pointed on, is that because there's an element of on or off with all or nothing. So when periods are good and you're able to do all those activities that you do for self-care. So nowadays is a really good example of that. So during coronavirus, we're not able to go and go to the gym or go to the usual sports classes that we go to look after ourselves. Now, someone with an all or nothing mindset might be tempted to then be like, well, if I can't go to the gym and I can't go to my CrossFit and I can't go to my classes, then I'm not going to do anything. And now we've been in lockdown for a month. So a month of not doing anything at all, looking to potentially be a few more months, that's going to have some serious health implications. Whereas if you're a little bit more flexible with yourself and think, okay, instead of needing my exercise regime needing to look like this, it could actually look like this. So instead of, the CrossFit, the gym, the run, and all the rest of it, it could actually just look like 10 minutes getting outside, putting my running shoes on, and running around the block a couple of times a week. So it's a bit more accessible, and it's actually kind of taking into consideration where you're at. And that's going to be really important on your pathway to health, because when you're starting to heal your gut, you really need to get better in tune with where your body is at. You need to be able to meet yourself in the present, as opposed to always thinking about how things were or projecting onto the future. You need to be able to meet yourself with where you're at. And an all or nothing mindset when it comes to your health doesn't really allow for that. So being realistic with yourself and flexible with yourself is really important when it comes to healing your health. So moving away from that all or nothing mindset in all parts of your health is really important in that step forward. So I hope that kind of covers a little bit of how an all or nothing mindset can be really helpful in some areas of your life, but not necessarily when it comes to your gut health. If any of this ring homes to you and you start to feel like, oh yeah, maybe I am a little bit of that person, then don't worry, don't fear over it. One of the main things I get my clients to do is just to reflect on where that mindset comes from. So some of the time it might be kind of from childhood, from things that our parents used to say to us, from our school, our education that we were surrounded by when we were younger. So just reflecting on where the mindset possibly comes from, and then, you know, the positives of that mindset, and also the possible damage that it might be doing as well to different areas of your life. So that can be a really nice reflective exercise to do. And then when it comes to particularly your health, just setting out some new goals for where you want your health to be. So we could do that together in a coaching session, or you can sit down and do it yourself. And that would be my kind of first bit of advice to moving out of this all or nothing mindset when it comes to your health, and moving towards one where you're more in tune with yourself, and more flexible in your thinking. So I hope that's helpful for you. I'd love to hear from you and let me know what you think. Otherwise, I hope you're having a lovely weekend, and I'll be back soon.